there's a quiet war going on inside you. It's not between you and the world. It's between you and your mind. You're not tired because life is too hard. You're tired because your thoughts never stop. Your brain replays every conversation, anticipates every problem, reacts to every insult before it even happens. And it's costing you energy, clarity, and strength. You don't need more motivation. You need less noise, less mental clutter, because when your mind is scattered, you are scattered. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced war, plague, and betrayal, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It wasn't just a quote, it was a daily reminder to himself, because even a man who ruled the world had to wrestle with his own thoughts. In a world where everyone is trying to speak louder, the person who knows when to stay silent is the one who truly holds power. We live in an age of overreaction. Every post, every comment, every opinion demands a response. But true strength isn't found in reacting to everything. It's found in mastering the pause between stimulus and response. Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic philosopher, taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." You don't always need to explain, defend, or justify. In fact, the more you do, the less grounded you become. Self-respect begins when you no longer seek approval from noise. The most powerful man in the room is rarely the loudest. He's the one who can sit in silence, observe his thoughts without obeying them, and choose his next move with calm intention. This video isn't about empty inspiration. It's a call to arms for your inner discipline. We'll cover 3 pillars that can transform your thinking and your presence. First, think less. Not by ignoring your thoughts, but by learning to observe them without being ruled by them. Second, talk less. Because most mistakes come not from silence, but from speaking too soon, too much, or without purpose. Third, focus more. Because when you direct your energy only toward what's within your control, you become unshakable. You don't need to run to the mountains or meditate 8 hours a day to live like a Stoic. You need only a few moments of awareness daily. Enough to stop yourself before the spiral begins. Enough to remind yourself, this thought is not me. It's just passing through. When your mind starts running away with worry, pause. When someone provokes you, breathe. When your instinct is to react, choose stillness instead. This is strength. Quiet, intentional, unshakable. The Stoics didn't promise you comfort. They promised clarity. And from that clarity, a type of peace that doesn't depend on the world behaving how you want it to. So, if you're ready to stop living like a slave to impulse, if you're ready to stop talking just to fill the silence, if you're ready to cut through the noise and reclaim your focus, subscribe to this channel right now. Not because you need another voice yelling at you to hustle, but because you're ready for a new kind of power, the one that comes from within. This isn't about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs to react. And it all starts here with a breath, a pause, and the choice to live on purpose. 1. Thoughts are not facts. Some mornings you wake up, and there's already a voice in your head. You're falling behind. You're not good enough. Everything's going to fall apart. It doesn't yell. It whispers, quiet, but persistent. And if you're not careful, you start to believe it's telling the truth. But here's the thing. It's just a thought. That's all it is. Epictetus once said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our judgment about them, our rejection, a failure, a cold look from someone. Those things on their own don't have power. What makes them heavy, what hurts, is the way you explain them to yourself. The story you build around them. Picture your mind like a train station. Each thought is a train arriving and leaving. Some bring worry, fear, regret. Others bring anger, insecurity, or shame. But you don't have to get on any of them. You can stand still, watch, breathe, let them pass. That sounds simple, but let's be honest, it's not easy. Because most of the time, we jump on those trains without even realizing it. One small thought, and suddenly it becomes your reality. Someone leaves your message on read. I must have said something wrong. You fail at something once. I'm just not good enough. You feel off for a day. Something's wrong with me. None of that is truth. It's just thought patterns, habits. And if you don't catch them, they start steering your life without permission. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire, used to write at night, just to untangle his own mind. He'd ask himself, is this thing really happening? Or is it just my interpretation of it? That one question can change everything. A friend of mine, calm guy, successful, respected, once told me, every morning he wakes up with this knot in his chest. Not because something bad happened, but because his mind instantly whispers, you're behind, you're not doing enough, you're losing, and nobody sees it. Then one day, he read a quote in Meditations that clicked, and he changed the way he talked to himself. Instead of saying, I'm failing, he started saying, I'm having the thought that I'm failing. That one shift changed everything. Now, it's no longer the truth. It's just a moment, just a cloud in the sky. And if you don't feed the fire, the smoke clears. You are not your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts. You're the space they pass through. You get to decide which ones to follow and which ones to let fade. You don't have to fight every negative thought. Just don't cooperate with them. Like smoke, if you don't fan it, it disappears. And this isn't a one-time trick. This is a daily practice. Anytime a thought hits hard, just ask yourself, first, is this really true? Second, do I have actual proof? Third, does this thought make me stronger or weaker? If it's not true, if it's not useful, if it pulls you down, let it go. Like dropping a heavy stone you don't need to carry anymore. Stoicism doesn't mean pretending nothing affects you. It means training your mind, building a filter, so not every random thought gets to take up space in your life. The world is already noisy enough. You don't need another enemy living inside your own head. So next time your mind starts whispering something heavy, don't just believe it. Pause it. Observe. Ask, do I want to get on this train? And if the answer is no, stay right there on the platform. Let the thought pass. That's real power. Peace doesn't come from having no negative thoughts. It comes from not letting them run the show. 2. The power of silence. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said something you wish you hadn't? A quick reply, a heated jab, a reaction you thought was clever, but later left you hollow, or worse, filled with regret. Yeah, we've all been there. Most people think silence is weakness, that not speaking up means you're losing. But the Stoics believed the opposite. They knew that silence is strength, a quiet kind of power that doesn't beg to be noticed, but can't be ignored. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The more a man's soul is strong and stable, the less he needs to talk." Think about that. Not every opinion needs to be voiced. Not every argument needs a comeback, and not every moment needs your words. In fact, the more grounded you are, the less you say. I once worked with a guy like that. He rarely spoke in meetings, didn't chime in with jokes or debates. But when he did say something, everybody listened, not because he raised his voice, but because he didn't waste a single word. He'd listen, wait, think, and when he finally spoke, it landed, like a stone dropped in still water. You see, silence isn't the absence of words. It's the presence of control. We live in a culture where reacting fast is rewarded. Post fast. Text back quick. Prove your point. Be heard. But if you're always reacting, you're not really thinking. You're handing your energy to the world, piece by piece, letting every little thing steal your focus, your presence, your peace. But when you learn to pause, to breathe before you respond, you take your power back. Epictetus said, first, learn to control your impulses, then your words. Those two go hand in hand, because your mouth is connected to your emotions, and if you haven't calmed your emotions, your words will do damage to others and to yourself. So here's something to try. Next time you feel triggered, or insulted, or challenged, don't respond right away. Not out of fear, out of discipline. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does it help? Is it coming from wisdom or ego? And if it doesn't serve you, choose silence, because silence never needs to be taken back. Words often do. Now, I'm not telling you to bottle things up. Stoicism isn't about suppression, it's about direction. You don't ignore your emotions, you guide them. You train them to serve you, not sabotage you. And silence is where that training begins. When you're quiet, you see more. You listen better. You notice things others miss. And slowly, you become someone who doesn't just react. You respond. With clarity, with intention, with presence, and people feel it. They trust you more. Not because you talk a lot, but because when you do, it means something. Remember, not everything deserves your reaction. Not every fight needs your fire. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. That's not weakness. That's control. That's Stoicism. So, what now? If you want more peace, start choosing silence where there used to be noise. Start choosing the pause where there used to be reaction. And little by little, you'll build something most people never even realize they're missing. Self-respect, presence, power. 3. Control what you can. Life doesn't always go as planned. You already know that. People disappoint you. Plans fall apart. Money gets tight. Your body breaks down. The past haunts you. And the future. It can feel like a fog you can't walk through. And in those moments when everything feels out of your hands, you have two choices. You can fight reality, blame everyone and everything, or you can focus on what's still in your control. That's where the Stoics built their entire philosophy. One simple rule: control what you can, let go of what you can't. It sounds easy, but it's brutal, because it means you have to stop pointing fingers and start owning your reaction. Let me tell you something honest. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how long you let it live in your head. You can't fix the past, but you can control how much you let it define you. You can't control the storm, but you can steady your hand on the wheel. Picture a ship at sea, the winds howling, waves crashing. The captain can't stop the storm, but he can adjust the sails. He can steer. He can choose to keep going or not. That's you. You're the captain. And the storm, that's life. It doesn't care how you feel, but it does respond to how you move. I once knew a man who lost his business after 20 years. Everything he built gone. He said the hardest part wasn't losing the money. It was feeling powerless. Like life had ripped the wheel from his hands. For months, he spiraled anger, blame, shame, until one day, he grabbed a notebook and drew 2 columns. Left side, things I can't control. Right side, things I can. In the right column, he wrote, my routine, my effort, my mindset, my ability to start again. That's where he focused. Not to get back what he lost, but to rebuild something better, starting from the inside. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, faced betrayal, illness, war, and death. And yet, he wrote this to himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He couldn't control fate, but he could control how he met it. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. So let me ask you, right now in your life, are you spending energy trying to change what's out of your hands? Are you fighting storms you can't stop? If so, pause. Breathe. Look at what you can still move, even if it's something small. Your attitude, your routine, your response, your focus. That's the lever you pull. That's where the power lives. Right here, inside you. And here's the truth. Every time you return to what's in your control, you become more steady, more grounded, more you. Not the version of you shaped by chaos, but the one shaped by choice. You're not powerless. You've just been putting your power in the wrong places. Bring it back. 4. Focus on what makes you grow. Let's be real. Some of the things holding you back right now aren't happening anymore, but you keep reliving them in your mind. That conversation you keep replaying, that mistake from months ago that still stings, that person who hurt you, even though they're no longer in your life, it's not the event that's hurting you anymore. It's the attention you keep giving it. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. Plant resentment, guilt, regret. You'll grow more pain. But if you plant intention, discipline, and clarity, you'll grow strength. The Stoics didn't say, ignore the past. They said, don't live there. Because if your attention stays locked on what you can't change, you'll miss what you can build today. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In other words, what you focus on, you become. I once saw a comment on a Stoic video. The guy wrote, every time I try to move forward, my mind drags me back. Same person, same memory, same pain, and I lose hours like it's still happening. You know what? I get it. We've all been there. But here's what Stoicism teaches. You don't run from the thought. You face it, name it, and then choose. Say to yourself, I'm having the thought that I'm stuck, but I'm not. I'm here. I'm breathing. I can choose where to place my focus right now. Even if that focus only lasts 10 minutes, even if it's shaky at first, that's how you begin. Because the truth is, your attention is your life, where it goes. Your energy flows. And the more you train it to stay on what helps you grow, reading, moving, building, creating, connecting, the less room there is for noise, pain, or the past to run your life. Here's the shift. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" And you start asking, "What can I do now with what I have?" That's when things change. That's when your focus becomes a weapon, not just to protect your peace, but to shape your future. Because you know what most people never realize? They're not stuck in life. They're stuck in thought. Break that loop. By choosing what you feed your mind, you don't need to control every thought. That's impossible. But you can decide which thoughts get to stay and which ones have to leave. Do this every day, and your character changes. Your habits shift. Your energy sharpens. Quietly, steadily, powerfully. And that, right there, is the work. Not chasing peace, not wishing away the pain, but choosing moment by moment to invest your focus into what actually helps you grow. That's Stoicism in action. Not ancient, not distant. Right here, right now, in every breath, in every choice. 5. ACCEPT. What is? There's a kind of pain that doesn't come from what happened. It comes from wanting it to be different. You wanted them to stay. You wanted things to work out. You wanted the timing to be better. You wanted the past to not hurt so much. But it did. And the more you fight it, the more it owns you. The Stoics understood something most people spend their whole lives avoiding. It's not the weight that breaks you. It's the way you carry it. You can carry the pain, or you can carry the resistance to it. And resistance is always heavier. Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about stopping the war in your head over something that already happened. It's saying, yes, this happened. It hurt. But I decide what happens next. I once got an email from a guy. He spent years trying to earn his father's approval. The perfect student, the hard worker, the strong one, always chasing that one moment of, "You did good, son," but it never came. And then one day, his dad passed away. No closure, no final conversation. He said what crushed him most wasn't the grief. It was the weight of everything that was never said. For months, he spiraled. I should have done more. I should have said more. Maybe then he would have seen me. But then he found Epictetus, and something clicked. Freedom begins the moment you stop begging for permission to be yourself. So he stopped waiting for his father's voice and started becoming his own. That's what acceptance is. It's reclaiming your power from the past. Because as long as you need someone else to validate your worth, you're chained to them, even if they're no longer here. And it's not just people. It's regrets, guilt, old versions of you that you keep punishing yourself for. But the past can't be rewritten. It can only be used, not to shame you, but to shape you. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, father, soldier, wrote during his darkest hours, "If you are pained by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, the world can wound you, but only you decide if that wound stays open. So, if something didn't go your way, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What now? Who can I become with what's left?" Acceptance doesn't erase the pain. It grounds you in the only place where life can actually happen. Right here, now. Because when you stop waiting for the past to fix itself, you start building something real in the present. And yes, it might feel lonely. Letting go often does. When you stop trying to be who others expect, some people drift away, but that's okay. Being alone as your true self is better than being surrounded and still feeling lost. So ask yourself, What am I still carrying? That's already over. And more importantly, what would I have space to build if I finally let it go? That's the work. Hard, quiet, transformational. Acceptance isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about deciding that what happened won't define what's next. It's not giving up. It's finally letting go. 6. Embrace silence for clarity. There's a kind of noise you don't hear with your ears, but you feel it. It hums in the background from the second you wake up. To-do lists, notifications, expectations, other people's opinions, your own overthinking. It's always there, and if you never stop to notice it, it starts running your life. We live in a loud world. Every moment is filled with something: content, conversations, chatter, pressure to know, to prove, to respond. But here's the truth. Noise isn't just annoying. It's distracting. And when you're distracted long enough, you forget who you are. Silence is where you meet yourself again. It's not empty. It's where the truth lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote alone, at night. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He wasn't performing. He was listening to his own mind, sorting thoughts, questioning impulses, making sense of a chaotic world by getting quiet inside. Be like the rocky cliff, he wrote, against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the sea. That kind of stillness, it doesn't come from scrolling. It doesn't come from speaking. It comes from silence. I once got a message from a guy. He said he couldn't stand being alone even for 5 minutes. Always needed music, TV, podcasts, people. He said silence made him feel worthless. But then one day, he hit a breaking point. Panic attack. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. So he did something simple. He turned everything off. No phone. No screens. No noisy. He sat in stillness just 5 minutes. And he cried. Not because he was sad, but because for the first time, he actually heard himself. Silence does that. It shows you what you've been avoiding. It shines a light on the corners of your mind that you keep in the dark. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. But that's where growth begins. We're not afraid of silence because it's boring. We're afraid of what we might hear. But the Stoics didn't run from that. They leaned in. They welcomed solitude, not as escape, but as practice, because clarity isn't something you find out there. It's something you uncover in here. So here's a challenge. Each morning, before the world reaches for you, give yourself 5 minutes. No distractions, no noisy, just you and your breath. Don't try to figure everything out. Just notice. Notice your thoughts. Notice what you're clinging to. Notice what actually matters today and what doesn't. That's where clarity comes from. Not from more information, from less distraction. Silence is a mirror. It reflects the truth whether you like it or not. And that truth, it's the starting point for every real decision. You don't need to escape the world. You just need to escape the noise for long enough to hear yourself again. When you embrace silence, something happens. You stop reacting. You start choosing. Your words become sharper. Your energy becomes cleaner. Your mind becomes yours again. Because what you don't say speaks. 2. And what you don't chase creates space for what actually matters. You won't find peace in the noise. You won't find clarity by running. You'll find it in the pause, in the breath, in the silence you used to avoid. So take 5 minutes today. Turn it all off. not to escape, but to return to yourself. 7. Talk less. Think more. Let's be honest. Most of us don't get in trouble for what we don't say. We get in trouble for what we say too fast, too carelessly, too emotionally. A comment fired off in anger, a post written out of ego, a reaction meant to feel powerful, but ends up leaving you feeling exposed or ashamed. The Stoics didn't speak much, and when they did, they measured every word because they understood something simple. Your words have weight, and if you're not careful, they'll crush what you care about. Epictetus said, "We were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen more than we speak." But in today's world, everyone's talking, posting, reacting, defending. Everyone wants to be heard, but very few people stop to ask, is what I'm about to say necessary? Talking less isn't weakness. It's restraint. It's choosing to respond, not react. It's saying, I don't need to prove myself here. I don't need to argue just to be right. I don't need to fill the silence with noise. I knew a man once strong, respected, calm, not because he dominated conversations, but because he rarely spoke unless he meant it. He listened. He observed. He watched people reveal themselves with every word they couldn't stop saying. And when he did speak, you could feel the difference. Not loud, not long, just clear, solid, undeniable. Here's the thing most people never learn. When you speak less, you think better. Silence isn't just a lack of noise. It's mental space. It's where real thinking happens. You can't reflect if you're always responding. You can't grow if your energy is spent explaining yourself to everyone. And you can't speak with power if your words are always escaping before your mind catches up. So pause, wait, think. Even 2 seconds of silence before you speak can change what you say and how you feel afterward. The Stoics practiced this daily, in their journals, in their conversations, in their leadership. They knew this truth. You don't owe the world constant commentary. In fact, your silence can often speak louder, because silence says, I'm not insecure. I'm not triggered. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to live with purpose. And I speak only when it serves that purpose. So next time someone pushes you, next time your ego wants to clap back, next time silence feels uncomfortable, choose the pause. Because that pause, it's your power. Talk less, think more. And when you do speak, make it count. Let your words come from clarity, not chaos. Let them carry intention, not impulse. Let them reflect your character, not just your mood. And in that silence, you'll hear what really matters. And more importantly, so will everyone around you. This is how Stoicism lives, not just in your mind, but in your mouth, in your presence, in your ability to stay calm. When the world tries to pull a reaction out of you, you're not here to win every argument. You're here to master yourself. And sometimes, that begins by saying nothing at all. You've made it. 7 pillars. 1 mindset. Think less. Talk less. Focus more. Control what you can. Accept what is. Embrace silence. Speak only with purpose. This isn't a trend. It's a way of life. And the more you live it, the more unshakable you become. Real strength doesn't come from impulse. It comes from inner control, from the ability to pause, to breathe, and to respond with intention, not emotion. So live by these 3 pillars. Think less, talk less, Focus more. And remember, every small decision to slow down, to stay silent, to act with purpose is a step toward mastering yourself. If this message speaks to you, subscribe to the channel, not for hype, not for noise, but for reminders that keep you grounded, focused, and unshakable. In a world that wants to pull you in every direction, this is where the path begins. Right here, right now, with you.